Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this top 15, yeah, sorry guys, it had to be 15. I just couldn't decide between so many of them. Top 15 countdown of the year. This is my top 15 vintage Transformer pickups of the year. Now, before we get started, and I know lots of people say this, but I really do genuinely want to thank every single one of you out there, not just for the support. The support, of course, is incredible. I really am blown away still all the time by it. I've had a crazy year with so many different things happening to me, but also the reason why I want to do this and say this at the beginning is because I know there's going to be at least 5 people watching this whose figures used to be, or they used to be their figures, but they're now mine. So that's a crazy sort of feeling, because I think I'd probably struggle to sell most of my really rare figures or my variants which I've got. So appreciation to the people watching this. I get lots of questions saying, where did you find that, how did you acquire that? And a lot of the time it genuinely is because of you guys, because of this channel, because people are maybe finding out about me without me trying to say, you know, it's about me. Just people maybe finding out about my collection. I get contacted directly by people because they know that they've got something that I might be interested in. And usually 99% of the time I am. And that's how I tend to get most of what you're about to see here. Lots of other things I do loads of research on, and I source it all myself. But there's a few times where I'm really lucky. I've got to confess, and people just message me and say, I've got this, are you interested? And a lot of the time I'll just be like, yes, because I need it. So I wanted to say that at the beginning. And there's a few people, as I say, watching this, only a handful, let's be honest, who've actually sold me some of their things. But again, it's just a real nice and immense privilege and honor that you guys have let me take it from your collection and put it into mine. So without further ado, this is quite long, as I say, and there's going to be decent reasons enough for everything as well. And also, apart from 2 or 3 of them, there is videos on all of these already on the channel. So number 15 is, this is from my good friend. I'm going to mention him and he doesn't mind. This is from Tim Banerjee. I call him the magician because he's exactly that. So he specializes, you know, to be fair, I won't say he specialises. He's a collector at heart. He's been in the collector on TF Source way before me. He's been collecting for years. He sells things on eBay under Tim Ban, and he does what if anybody knows what a resale is, it's as simple as what it sounds. So this is a vintage, as I say, Rumble and Laserbeak card. So you see it's got the hole punch there, it's got the correct copyrights on it, etc. But what I'm trying to say is, I would love to say this is sealed, and I probably won't see a sealed one, but this is a vintage resale of these particular figures. So it's an original card. It had a very protective, overcautious original owner. Cut the bubble ever so slightly, just pulled it off and kept the figures in a really good condition. And it's a vintage original, so it's just a resale. And again, this is thanks to Tim Banerjee. I mention him a lot on this channel. His collection's insane. He's still got a couple of things that I want. Well, in fact, 2 or 3 at least, but there you go. This is one of his little beauties, and I had to put that in at 15. And again, thank him publicly for allowing that to come into my collection. Now, I'm going to really struggle here trying to put all these away safely because I've got no space at all. Number 14, this is from, again, a friend. I've mentioned him a few times on the channel, but not in a long time. This is from Magnum Prime, and this was from his collection. In fact, I've got 2 from his. It's a Takara. I'm going to say it's just a bog standard, but it's a Takara box, and everybody in this channel knows that I love Japanese exclusive, well, not even Japanese exclusives, just Japanese releases. So this is how they were boxed up all them years ago in Japan with their serial numbers. And yeah, it's just a Takara hound. It's just vintage. It's in a little Takara box. That's all it is. But there's just something special about these little boxes that I really love. And that's going to segue straight away into number 13. Again, same person, same good friend of mine now, because I never met him until I started this channel. Never met him, never said one word to him, reached out to me, and he's the guy I mentioned who we do lots of sales at the MCM with, etc. And he's always recycling his collection as well, so I got the chance to get tracks as well. So this is, again, a Takara boxed tracks. You can see the difference, look, between the 84 numbers is number 3, and then of course the 85 is number 44. Everything's intact, no robot points cut, just beautiful figures that are now in my collection. And again, I thank him ever so much as well. And he sells some things on eBay as well, and it'll come to me and I'll let you guys know, because again, I want to help everybody else collect things in their collection at the same time. So that's 14 and 13. Number 12, this one I know a lot of people are going to say, that's insane, this should be way higher up. But it's an avenue that I'm trying not to go down. But if an opportunity like this pops up and I get the opportunity to buy a figure like this for the price that it was, I'm going to jump on it. Now, the only reason this isn't very high is because it's just pretty much basic. It hasn't really got many of its parts. And as I say, I keep telling myself, guys, I don't collect Diaclone figures, but this is a Diaclone figure. And I know it's, you know, it's my top 15 Transformers, but top 15 vintage figures, and it's a powered convoy. So this is all original. That blue cab, as I say, it is original. He's only got, I think, 2 original parts with it. The rest, fair play to the seller, and I've forgotten his name. But he sells something new as well. He you know, he did cast me some resin parts, etc. But yeah, powered convoy. Now I know a lot of people are going to be going, that's nuts, it should be way higher. But for me, perhaps if he'd have had a box, perhaps if he'd have been more complete, and perhaps if I'd have been more into, and I'm saying this at the moment, I'm going to watch this video back in 4 or 5 years time when I'm all in on Diaclone. But at the moment, I'm not all in on Diaclone, and he's come in, I think, at a healthy 12. And if Borders Dude is watching this, he's going to be going mental because he's going to want it much, much higher. So powered convoys there purely because I was really lucky to pick this up. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it. I know it's rare, I know it's scarce, and I know a lot of people would really want this, but it was just, for me, it was just a pure chance and something that was too good for me to not jump on. All right, let me put this safely down here. On to number 11, and this is sort of something similar. In the fact that I am going for these now. I am genuinely searching for these. So this is a blue Bumble Jumper figure. I'd love to tell you it's a Takara original from the Penny Races, but it's not. It's still just as good. It's an Estrella, which is the Brazilian mini-bots. So the South American mini-bots, where they released 4 mini-bots in 4 crazy colours, and they are so ridiculously hard to find, and I was lucky enough to pick up this one. This was from a good friend called Lynn Doan, and again he again started to sell me some of his collection, and yeah, his collection still is ridiculous, but he let me have this as well. So there you go, guys. That is a blue Estrella Bumble Jumper. I call him Bumble Jumper. I don't like the name Bumper. Bumble Jumper is much better for me. I think that anyway. Again, let me know in the comments, Bumble Jumper or Bumper, because I'm sure you're going to guess he's going to come up a bit further on the list as well. So that's number 11. Yes, it was. Let me just double check. Yes, number 10. This is Leo Convoy, and this again is from a chap who sells loads of things on eBay. His collection's ridiculous as well. His name is Octopus. I don't know his real name. I do know his real name, but he probably doesn't want me to give it to him. His eBay name is Octopus Surprise, and he sells some vintage, amazing figures. And this is me stepping out of my comfort zone. This is purely down to Mark. I blame Mark Maher for this 100%, because no interest in this figure really at all. And I know it's a Transformer, but then when they released the Legacy Evolution version, I was like, wow. Sorry, the Legacy Evolution version, I was like, wow, that's amazing. So much so that I wanted to track down the original, and this is the original, and I found it on eBay. Octopus Surprise, as I say, has some amazing vintage Japanese stuff. But not only did I get the figure with it, which I apologise, I've still not done a video review on, I also got some vintage legitimate, these are animation cells as well, from Beast Wars Neo. I'm sure that's from Beast Wars Neo. Watch me get picked up now, because I don't know too much about them. This is actual animation cells from the cartoon with that particular figure, so absolute no-brainer. As soon as I saw that he had it, I thought, I've got to get that, and that's what I did. So there you go. That is exactly that. That is Leo Prime, Leo Convoy, his real name, of course, with some animation cells. Very pleased to get that. Right, down number 9. Similar sort of thing. Again, I'm blaming you guys at Hasbro for this. And I'm also thanking the Toyfu guys at TF Nation. They do an amazing job. They get figures donated, they get toys donated, they get stuff donated, and they buy stuff as well, but all their proceeds go to charity. That's the huge table that I videoed 2 or 3 times at TF Nation this year, and they had on their stand a boxed vintage Magmatron. And again, I apologise, guys, I've still not got around to doing the video on this particular guy, but it's because of that. You can just about make that. It's because of that Commander class figure is probably the figure that's completely blew me away. If you watch my top 10 Legacy, normal release, he was number 1. Normal release, that is, because it's just amazing. And then I liked it so much that I wanted to source this. And then, funnily enough, this is going to lead me to another thing. I always say thank you to everybody. The reason why I say thank you to everybody as well, if you're new to the channel, if you don't know, I sell stuff that I don't need all the time as well. No vintage, just hardly any vintage before anybody says I want this, I want that. But yeah, it's because, again, it's because of people like you buying things from my eBay, etc., which funds all of this. It's constant collection recycling, and I talk about that all the time because that's exactly what I do. My movie collections dwindle down really, really low, etc. Hence why I'm able to do this, which is great. But yeah, thank you. No thanks to the Hasbro designers, to Mark and that, for making me look at that. But yeah, in all seriousness, it was exactly that, the new versions, that made me want to find the original ones. So that was Vintage Magmatron. We've still got 8 to go, and this should be much more simple because they're all in order there. I think I've missed somebody. Oh no, I haven't. Number 8, and this is, I suppose, where I go into I don't know, some people might not, some people really appreciate this, some people don't, and this is where this is a sealed double header, but if you watch this channel for a long time, I've already got one of these, but this is a Spanish version, and yeah, exactly that. So I saw this, I think this one was just on normal eBay, to be honest. I think it was just on normal eBay, and I saw it there and I just took a chance and I got it. I think because it's got a crease on it and stuff, I got it for a really, really good price, because I know that a lot of people, if they're going to buy sealed, if they're going to buy vintage sealed, they like it to be, you know, crisp, so they can get it graded, etc. Me, I'm not fussed. It's a box example. I love the fact that it's still boxed, and I've got a Spanish and an English version now, so that was a bit of a crazy one, but I know these are quite hard to come by, and I just, again, the reason why I like it is because it's just a different variant at the same particular time. Right, and here we go then. So number 8, is it number 8? Yes, it is. No, that was number 8, double headers. So wait a minute, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. No, that's okay. That's okay. I haven't messed up. I thought I had 7. This again, I've got to mention Mr. Tim Banerjee, because this was from his collection, and this time it's not a reseal. This is an actual sealed one. This is Slugfest and Overkill. So this is your 2 cassette bots. Again, I really like these particular characters. I'm lucky enough that I've got them in Takara boxes as well. And I know, unfortunately, they've been KO'd, but I know, and I'm sure most people out there, any collectors, you know, will still want and will still really appreciate having the originals rather than just being able to just go and buy a KO. That's why that's why I love it, because you've got to source these things. You've got to find them, you've got to hunt them, you've got to track them down, where of course KOs, you can just find them willy-nilly anywhere. So yeah, this one had to come in at number 7 because the actual originals are just daft hard to find, and as soon as I got the Japanese ones, I just needed to get, or didn't need to, but I wanted to. I'm sure you understand. Right, what are we on to now? So that was number 7. This is why I thought I'd messed up. This is number 6, and this again is from another collector. This was from, he's changed his name actually. His original name on eBay was Galaxy High Graduate. His real name's Graham. He's a lovely chap. I've had a few things off him in the past. I've returned a few things in the past to him, because at the end of the day, he's a collector, and like me, and sometimes I've mentioned it before, but sometimes I've been quite lucky never to have too much seller's regret. But anyway, that's by the by. I did to get this from him, and this is a vintage boxed Computron. Again, now this is one of the hardest combiners to find, which is crazy, because there's a KO version, there's been a KO version for ages, but this guy took me ages to track down, and then funnily enough, this particular one was on Transformerland, and I'm sure everybody knows Transformerland, for ages, and then Graham picked it up, and I was like, oh man, and we just got chatting and stuff, and then we ended up doing again something I always recommend. We just did a swap, so I swapped him a figure for this, and yeah, I got his boxed vintage Computron, which again, I know a lot of people will be thinking, well, that's crazy because you can just pick up a KO out there, but for the same reasons as the cassettes, there's just something about finding something, tracking it down and trying to hunt it down and find it. So that's why that's there, and that's quite high, to be fair. It is quite high up in the number, because if you are new and if you are trying to collect vintage, then you'll probably know and appreciate how scarce that actually is. And I'm pretty sure in the UK it was never even released. So another curse of the UK thing that we didn't ever get. So that was number 6. Number 5. But what we did get in the UK was we did get these. We got the Lightformers, we got the Track-Ons, we got loads of things, to be fair. So we were lucky enough to get these anyway. But this, and again, I've done a video on this, guys, and as I say, the reason why this is G1 is because it's in a box. The G2 versions of these, which came out only a year later, were in, like, blister card, funny enough, like the double header, but with the like the way the Dinobots and everything were packed. So this is a Generation 1 Iron Fist, which again, all in different languages because it's of course a European release, and the gimmick on this guy is just so cool, and it's just a cool figure, and we are getting an update. Thank heavens we're getting an update. Can't wait to see it. I've heard it's going to be a retool of Hound though, so I hope they do a really good job, to be fair. But yeah, Iron Fist was in at number 5. Top 4 then. Now we're getting serious. Number 4, this is again another collector. I've mentioned him loads of times on here. His collection's insane. His real name's Neil Rockman. Herald of Unicron is his YouTube channel. His G1 collection is what I wanted it to be, but I haven't got enough space. But it's definitely all now just Hasbro, because he sold a lot of his Japanese stuff off to loads of people, and he held a load for me while he allowed me to save up and pay for them. His collection's insane, honestly, guys. But I was lucky enough to get this off him as well. And this again is a Operation Combination 1992 Japanese exclusive twin pack, and this is sealed as well. So this was a great addition to my collection. Again, thanking him very much. I know he watches me as well, for selling it to me, because it means a lot, because I just love the Japanese boxes, and although I have the European versions, I just really wanted to get hold of these Japanese ones as well. So that is number 4, and that goes there. Right, this next one, again, funnily enough, I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I can see his name, but I don't think he'd probably want me to tell you. Again, he just contacted me directly. He's like, he says, I've noticed you're into your variants. I've got these particular figures. Are you interested? And I've got to confess that I did buy all 3 off him. 2 of these I showcased last year. And the one of these I haven't only showcased. I only showcased this last two weeks ago, something like that. So this is a first run. And this is pretty much where I'm about with my collection now. I didn't want to get that way, but I like the fact that you can sort of find these different variants. So this is a first run Seeker for Skywarp, and it's because it's got a TM box, so that's before they were registered trademarks. And this has also got no stamps on it at all. And yeah, so it hasn't got Hasbro or Takara stamped on it. It's got solid wings, so it didn't have the molding defects, not the molding defects, the molding cost cutting where they put holes in the back of the wings. And it's also got shorter stubs, so there's quite a few things why these are different, and there's a full descriptive video on Starscream, but not of him, on this channel. So this is a first. If you collect variants, or if you've heard of Metal Plates Optimus Prime, this is the Seeker equivalent. So Metal Plates Optimus Prime, or Light Blue Parts Optimus Prime, were the first Optimus Primes that came from Diaclone figures. So this is the Seeker equivalent of a Metal Plates Optimus Prime, and that is, as I say, no stamps, solid wings, and there's a few other things as well. So that is Skywarp, which of course means that it completes the trilogy. Right, down to the top 2 now. It depends what your memory's like of things that I've revealed and shown on this channel now. I know that you're all probably thinking that the one, in fact, I'm just going to say him, the one that you're probably thinking is going to be number 1, even though I've had so many crazy comments saying this guy isn't rare, it's Bumble Jumper. But it's Bumble Jumper on card. And I know, guys, I appreciate you can get this guy loose. I'm not saying he's cheap. I'm not saying he's super easy to find. I'm not saying he's as rare as what I put in my comment, in my title. But a boxed version of this figure, as a couple of people I've been chatting to now, I know Tim Banerjee, funnily enough, who's got one. And there was another person who I don't know his name at all, and he put a picture of his up in a Facebook group that I'm in, and I do not know, and you guys can correct me and you can call me out and you can find me if you want, not as in not fine, find me another boxed version of this particular figure. Loose, yes, I've got another loose one on the shelf. I've just shown you a blue one, but an actual on card. And okay, it is a resale. Granted, it's a resale. It's not sealed, because if it is, I probably would. If it was real, I'd probably sell it, because the value of a sealed one's just stupid. But yeah, the fact that it's on a card is just one of them things that you do not see at all. There's a couple of comments. People have actually been like saying, you know, I've not seen one in 40 years. I've seen 3 now. This is the 3rd one that I've seen in the entirety that I've been collecting. So yes, I appreciate you've seen them loose and you can perhaps find them loose, but actually on a card like it used to be, very cleverly resealed by Tim. It's just insane to me. And it is probably one of them figures that I never thought that I would get boxed, to be fair. So, and I know you're probably thinking, well, why isn't it you know, why isn't it my top one? If you thought, I did think I'd never get this. Funnily enough, I've just looked at the logo. See the logo on Cliff Jumper there? Somebody asked me what's the deal with the stretch logos. The stretch logos was always on the packaging, but I'll show you that in more detail in another video. But anyway, yeah, so the reason why this wasn't number one is because the next one I'm about to show you, I revealed at the beginning of this year, so it's a long time ago. This was a long time of hunting. To give you an idea of how long it took me to track this down, I need to find out a way to update TF-Wiki. This particular version isn't on TF-Wiki. It's a legit version. It's Megatron's version of Metal Plates Optimus Prime. The first releases of Megatron came out in dark chrome. And I managed to get, in the same month, because I found a seller again, a private seller, who, a bit like me, loves their Megatrons, and I managed to get a boxed one, completely untouched. The reason why that's broke is because it got shipped from America, and they had to it's so frustrating. But he is untouched, unused completely, but they had to take him out and partially transform him to be able to ship him to me. But unfortunately, they didn't realise that it would damage the packaging, which they did. But again, you've got the TM box there, and yeah, it's a dark chrome. But not only did I manage to get the boxed one, but I managed to get a loose one as well. And again, what you can do is you can check out the video. You can see that it's a vintage one. The chrome on this is so much darker than the standard Megatron figure, and it's so rare that it's not even on TF-Wiki. It's the first runs of Megatrons, because it's, if you look at any of the Diaclone versions, and you know, or the pistol, whatever they, Magnum P38, whatever they are, not a Magnum, the Walther P38, in the vintage Diaclone boxes, in the Jig boxes, which is the Italian versions, they've got this dark chrome to it, whereas when they came over to be a Transformer, they made the chrome that little bit lighter. And this one was the one that I was super excited to get. This was the one that brought me the most. I can't remember if mine as a kid was this one. I've got to be honest, I can't remember. But just the fact that I managed to hunt it down and find it, and the amount of people who said I didn't even know that was a real thing, but it's a real thing. It is dark chrome Megatron. It is the first release of Megatron, and he is my number one of my top 15 vintage pickups of the year. So there you go, guys. That is going to wrap this up. As I say, everything I've got videos on apart from Magmatron and Leo Convoy. The rest of them all got videos on if you want to have a look at them. Let me know in the comments if you think you agree with them, or would you have changed any of them around. Appreciate all your time and comments, and again, thank you to the people who are watching this. If this was your old toy, massively appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. Take care.